Jurors were forced to leave the courtroom today following a heated exchange during testimony in George Thomas's murder trial.
A witness testified she saw Thomas near the Chipman Street house around the time of the crime. Thomas is the third defendant to go on trial for the deaths of Shannon Christian and Christopher Newsom. Volunteer TV's Mike McCarthy joins us live just outside the courtroom with an update on today's court proceedings. Mike?
Well, Allison, prosecutors called Ethelyn Freeman because of where she says she saw George Thomas and when. The defense, though, called her out on her claims. Questions to a witness waged a shouting match between attorneys.
We really have established this.
We have not, Your Honor. I've not asked her about her prior consistent statements. He has went on and on about all the stuff that she's left out of these prior proceedings. I think it's relevant that she has testified consistently to what she was.
A battle prosecutors won, letting them stress what Ethelyn Freeman said she witnessed.
I knew George Thomas, so I'm absolutely sure that it was George Thomas.
Thomas is the third defendant on trial for the deaths of Shannon Christian and Christopher Newsom. Freeman testified she saw Thomas walking alone on Chipman Street the day Newsom's body was found burned along nearby railroad tracks.
Do you recall being asked?
Transcripts in hand, defense attorney Thomas Dillard attacked Freeman's credibility, showing her testimonies changed in various trials. And Dillard drilled Freeman on how she also previously identified Christian and Newsom at a gas station begging for money. That, despite bank representatives' testimony, the couple had cash when they were killed.
Bottom line is, you made a mistake.
I wouldn't say I made a mistake, no.
Are you absolutely sure
I
you
did
saw
not know Shannon or Chris.
Jurors also asked questions about Freeman's claimed sighting of the couple, but didn't ask anything about Thomas at all. Well, prosecutors had to also walk a fine line today, how to go about discrediting Freeman's statements about Christian and Newsom at that gas station, but without entirely ruining the statements that she made that helped build the prosecution's case. There were other witnesses today that put Thomas in that Chipman Street home the weekend of these murders. Much more from them tonight at 6. For now, we're going to switch gears, hand things over to Volunteer TV's legal analyst and licensed attorney Rob Pratt to help us get an inside look and more of an inside scoop on what went on in court today.
Well, thank you, Mike and Mark and Allison. Of course, decisions being made now that will affect the way the rest of this trial proceeds, and we can answer some questions about that now.
All right, Rob, thank you. The prosecution said a lot of the case against Thomas is circumstantial. That means Ethel Freeman's testimony key, especially if she can put Thomas where Newsom's body was found. So how did the defense try to discredit her?
Well, they used one of the oldest and most reliable methods in the law, using her own previous words against her. It's called impeachment through a prior inconsistent statement. Ethel Freeman has testified numerous times before, and her story has changed. That was pointed out very clearly, Allison, to this jury here today.
All right, Rob, how surprised were you that after the entire fight over Freeman's credibility, the jury did not ask any questions about her seeing Thomas, only whether or not she actually saw Shannon and Christopher, and what could that mean in all of this?
Well, Mark, it could be that they find that portion more credible. They may not have felt they needed to ask more questions about her having seen George Thomas, who in fact she had seen before this occasion. But their question could have been a further indication that they saw her testimony about the victims in this case to be not too credible. Of course, this jury asking several questions, as they have a right to do, Mark.
All right, Rob, thank you for that insight. And remember that you can watch the trial live each day on VolunteerTV.com with updates in every newscast. You can also follow Mike McCarthy's updates at Twitter.com/WVLT.